Okay, thanks everybody for joining us and jumping on the video. Kind of a short notice video here with some updates with the COVID-19 relief funds that the state of South Dakota has available. And joining me is Senator Casey Crabtree. Casey, thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks, Eric. Appreciate you getting us on here on short notice, and thanks for all the work you are doing for your members there.
You bet. Yeah. And maybe let's start with just talking about some of the information you've received as far as numbers of applications and where that all stands.
Yeah, I mean, I know your business members are busy, so I'll be quick and cut right to the chase. Right now, I think as far as expectations go, the number of applications that they have received through the portal are much less than what was anticipated. We are probably seeing the most. This was maybe 2 days ago that I saw some data as far as the numbers that have come in. We don't see any other data besides that. But it sounded like there was about 1,100 that had applied for the startup funds, but nowhere near the amount that would use the entire bucket of funds that had been allocated there. Nonprofit, it looked like that maybe had received less applications again than what we had expected. And certainly on the small business grant, that is less than what is expected. And so I just, I appreciate you doing such a good job and working with your members and trying to get this information out because we want, coming from a small business background, I want everybody who's eligible to be looking at this and making sure that they're getting their application in. So there's a couple of changes being talked about. We'll see, when the legislature passed the resolution for this, they gave the latitude to the governor's office, and the governor's office probably had that before based on some of the executive order stuff. But they've got the ability to change this so that we can make sure that we get these funds issued to those who need it the most. And so there's some ability to move that. A couple of things I know that they're looking at and maybe released, but right now it was 25%. Reduction in business, you're probably going to see that go down. And so one of the things that I think we've been saying since the beginning in the first video that you and I had with Representative Gross and Representative Weezy was talking about, hey, if even if you haven't seen a 25% reduction in your net revenue, you still need to apply. You should still apply. We don't know how this is going to unfold, and that's really where we're at. We may see that 25% reduction, that guideline changed to 15%. We don't know. I kind of anticipate that, and so I think we should go ahead and if you're doing your numbers and you've taken a look at it and you didn't apply because you didn't think you had a great enough reduction in business, I would encourage you to go back and make sure you apply. So that's one of them. Another one was the minimum amount. Was basically based on the processing. It was $750. I think they're going to reduce that to $500. So if you didn't quite make the minimum amount that they had set, please revisit that and get that out. And then lastly, and kind of, this is, a bigger one is they had set the max amount per grant at 100,000. That is likely to get it increased to 500,000 for the max. And so for some larger businesses that are out there, that may provide more help for some of those larger businesses who employ more people, so that we can keep them running and employing good folks. So there's lots of changes happening there. I guess, Eric, and I know you've been preaching this out and shouting this from the mountaintop, just like many of us have been. But it's important that our small businesses get this in by that deadline. We might see the deadline extended here a few days, but don't procrastinate, which is really saying something coming from me. I'm a procrastinator. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a procrastinator, but you got to get this thing in because once that window closes, we can't come back and revisit. Why can't we come back and revisit? Because we've got the end of December based on the federal guidelines to get these funds out. So, even if you get a couple days, get that thing in. It's not first come, first serve. It's, it'll be processed after the close of the application. But we get past that window and you didn't get it in, you're going to be out of luck, and we don't want to see that. So get it in, and then let's get this money back out where it needs, where folks need it the most. And so it's a short window. So if we'll push that into November. By the time those get reviewed by a totally independent auditing firm, accounting firm, those get reviewed and sent out. We're hoping that we can get those CARES Act money out by early December, and it's got to be out by the end of December. Otherwise, South Dakota loses out on it.
Yeah, a couple of I went through the application process for the nonprofit, and it's pretty painless in the grand scheme of things. There are a couple of things that you'll have to track down, a letter of good standing from the Secretary of State, but you can do that right off of the Secretary of State's website and print it off right there. Your tax returns, if you're a nonprofit, articles of incorporation, but I got ours right from the Secretary of State also. So it does take a little bit of time, but it wasn't nearly as daunting of a task as I thought it was going to be. So like you said, everybody everybody needs to apply to get these funds out. A couple of things that I've had asked of me, and maybe you can talk about those. One of the questions that I've gotten a lot is this a grant, or do I need to pay it back? Is there a catch to the money?
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it's one of those deals, right? In South Dakota, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is, right? That's, I think, saying a lot of us learned when we were younger, but it's a different situation right here. And so on this, the SBA CARES Act gave $1.25 billion to the state of South Dakota to use for coronavirus relief, and this portion is part of that. And so, no, it is truly that is grant funds out for the small business. And so need to apply. And you mentioned something earlier there, and it was really the intent. I think, most of the legislature was on the same page with, we want to make sure this application is as easy as possible while making sure that we're checking the boxes to know that it's going to the right places. And so, I know from my history of working with a lot of small businesses, my wife owning a small business here, that they're focused on running their business, and so it's got to be simple. And honestly, I think I've walked through this a couple of times with different folks and looked at the application. I mean, it looks about as simple as they can make it. I know there's some things you got to track down, but it's I like to say it doesn't cost you anything to apply. Now you have to get your letter of good standing, which is I think a $20 fee there. But just go through that process, because I think it's I would hate to see us miss out on some things that are badly needed. We've experienced a downturn, obviously, based on this, and we don't know how this thing plays out, right? There is no playbook for this, and there's no game tape to watch, so to speak. So, we don't know where we're going to be in a month or 2 or 3, so be proactive. Get that grant application in as soon as possible, so that if you're eligible, that we can get that help out to where it needs to be.
Then the last question that I've received a lot is a little bit of confusion as far as the difference between reduction in business and showing a negative. Maybe
sure,
if you can explain the difference between those two, because the application or the funds are one of the parameters is a reduction in business, not necessarily going in the red. Right.
Yeah. It doesn't say that you got to be operating at a loss, right? That wasn't included in the resolution. That's not, I don't, as I've looked at that application, I don't see anywhere where it says you had to be operating at a loss. So if you think that the only reason, if you have not been applying because of that, please know that that's not the case. So it's a reduction in your business. And again, that reduction in business was at 25%. Now, it's very possible we'll see in the next couple of days that it's 15%, and maybe we'll see that sooner. And that number could change, but we're gonna see that probably be less steep. So no, you don't have to be operating at a loss, but you need to show that you had a loss from 2019 over 2020. So that's really where we're at, Eric. And again, I can't encourage folks enough to put their application in, even if you're not 100% sure if you're eligible. It is worth going through this process and making sure we're getting help to those who need it. Those who need it the most. A couple of things that I think are worth pointing out. And I know you fielded a lot of questions. I've fielded a lot of questions. But there is a really good FAQ out on the state's website, which is covid.sd.gov. There are some great call center folks that are helping with us. They can at least answer your technical questions about the process, right? I think they're open 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, 605-937-7243. Again, that is 605-937-7243. And those folks should have the technical expertise to walk you through that application, and really help get that in and make sure that you get the right things in. And so again, cannot encourage folks enough to just to go through the process, get that grant in. It's simple. It shouldn't take that much time. But get that in so that we can put this money to work for South Dakota small businesses.
Yeah, and last thing I'll mention is you talked about the kind of the helpline. I had to make a call and I sent an email, 2 different questions, and I got through right away on the phone and a response on the email in about 10 minutes. So they're pretty good about getting back to you in a quick turnaround time.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Eric. I mean, it's encouraging to hear that. Obviously, that's something that's being handled by a third-party system. I know from my point of view, that was something I was nervous about as this process kicked off, making sure that was taken care of. Because again, small business folks, they want to work on their business. They don't want to spend time waiting on the phone for somebody to answer some questions. And so it's good to see that they're being responsive and hopefully getting the answers that they need so that they can get this in. There's been some things that have come up through the process, based on, accrual basis accounting versus cash basis, things of that nature. And really, I think, they've gotten that streamlined, got that worked out. You'll always see something that's moving this fast, have some things that have to get worked out. But it doesn't even matter how, now, it doesn't matter how you fit into those two. If you're looking for the small business grant, they can handle your application. If you're a startup, it's on cash basis, which is, hopefully you're able to accommodate changing your books up a little bit if you're not on cash basis as a startup. But I mean, it's the intent was for it to be simple. I think we're well on our way there. We just need to make sure that folks are aware of this and that they're getting their application in under this tight window, because it's a short timeline to get that dollars back out so that we can follow the Fed guidelines. So most of the guidelines associated with this, Eric, and I know I've told you about this a couple of times, but basically every guideline in here with this was federally handed down to us, right? So we try to make sure that if this was on the healthcare grants or the small business grants, that we didn't put more guidelines and more regulation in there, that these folks can use this. You asked me before, is there, strings attached? Well, we tried to make sure that there wasn't any from the state side besides what we received from the feds, so that folks could put this to work where they need it.
Yeah, and just finishing up here, a couple of things that I want to mention is the website where you can find the link for the application and all of the FAQ pages, covid.sd.gov, and that'll take you right to the front page. And then there's another button to click for the grants. And last thing I'll mention is, everybody knows the saying with real estate, it's location, location, location. When it comes to grants, it's apply, apply, apply. So we can't stress enough that you just need to take a few minutes and apply, and so we can get these funds here locally to the people that need them.
Well, thanks, Eric. I think you're exactly right. Get that application in, whether you think you fit the criteria or not. Get that in, and thanks for your work on getting this out to your members. And thanks to your members for. I know they made adjustments and they're operating under uncertain times, and so I appreciate what they're doing for our community. It's an interesting process, an interesting time. Again, no playbook for this. So here's a good chance to look for something that may be able to help them.
You bet. Thanks for joining me and giving an update to all of our members. And everybody, stay healthy. Have a good weekend. And we'll check in with everybody here shortly. Thanks again, Casey.
Nope. Thank you, guys. See ya.